Hola a todos. Este episodio será un poco diferente al anterior. Entrevistamos a una estudiante de español de nivel intermedio sobre sus experiencias y dificultades con el aprendizaje del idioma. La entrevista será en inglés y para finalizar haremos un breve resumen en español.
Aprender español viene con algunos desafíos totalmente normales y la experiencia de cada persona es diferente. Así que si tu camino no se parece al de los demás, está perfectamente bien. Algunas personas tienen dificultades para hacer el sonido de la R. Otros se confunden con los sustantivos con género, el o la. Las conjugaciones verbales pueden sentirse como un verdadero entrenamiento. Lo que yo estoy enfrentando ahora es escuchar y entender a hablantes nativos. Todos vamos a tener dificultades en ciertas áreas, pero estos desafíos son normales y se pueden superar. Practica la R poco a poco. Aprender los sustantivos junto con sus artículos. Enfócate primero en los verbos y tiempos más comunes. Usa subtítulos y contenido más lento para fortalecer tu comprensión auditiva. Y lo más importante, no tengas miedo de cometer errores. Son parte de aprendizaje. Cada persona avanza a su propio ritmo. Lo que realmente importa es ser constante y ser amable contigo mismo mientras aprendes. Y ahora, para hablar con nosotros sobre algunos de los desafíos de aprender español. Le damos la bienvenida a nuestra invitada especial Brooklyn.
Sí, Chris, la R es muy difícil. But hello, Brooklyn. Thank you very much for joining us today. We're so excited to have you. Would you mind sharing with us a little bit about your Spanish journey?
Yeah, of course. So my Spanish journey began my sophomore year in high school, I believe. I took 2 years of online Spanish because it wasn't offered at my school in person. But it was super challenging trying to teach myself, and I didn't have anyone that I could ask questions. And I kind of gave up on it. My Spanish journey truly began last year here at Lyon. I took 2 semesters of Spanish, and honestly, it finally seemed possible that I could actually learn the language. I really enjoyed the classes here, and it allowed me to explore another interest other than my science classes that seemed to take up most of my time. I decided I could get my minor in Spanish, and I hope to be able to communicate with Spanish speakers in the medical field in the future.
Yeah, I totally agree that Spanish is a good escape from serious quote unquote classes. But for you, what do you believe is the most difficult part about learning Spanish?
For me, it's definitely becoming comfortable speaking and actually putting what we learn into practice because in class, I notice that a lot of students don't want to speak much. A lot of us are scared of messing up, but it really helps to just try to speak it and not just learn how to take quizzes and tests.
Yes, that's so true. The quizzes and tests can be very easy compared to trying to speak it, especially if you
Yes.
don't have something to look off of. We know that you are a Spanish tutor on campus. How is it different teaching someone Spanish versus learning it for yourself? Do you find it helpful to teach someone?
Yeah, teaching others, it definitely helps me recall the material well myself. It can be hard just because I know not everyone's going to find it as interesting as I do. And it's definitely something you have to work at, and you tend to have to work at it more if it's something you're not as into. But I just try to help students recognize patterns and learn the language. I know that when I first started, I had to find ways to memorize things at the beginning, just those things like vocabulary and stem changers. So in teaching, I just try to like point out those things to students that they'll have to memorize and encourage them that speaking it helps the knowledge stick.
Yeah, that's awesome. So like, what would you say that your end goals for like learning Spanish are, and like, what are you hoping to achieve from learning the language?
Well, I'm hoping to become a doctor, and I'm thinking maybe like a family physician, but I'm not really decided. But my end goal is just to be able to communicate with Spanish-speaking patients and help anyone in need.
That is a great goal, Brooklyn. I know that in the medical field, it can be really scary to have that language barrier there. And just knowing kind of the basics can be super helpful,
Yes,
especially when you're working with families. What would you say your favorite memory from learning Spanish or being in class would be?
My favorite memory would probably have to be at the end of last semester. Me and a couple other girls in my class did the speaking final exam together. It was our last exam of the year. We were super nervous, and we just kind of rehearsed a lot of different sentences that we could use depending on the topic that Profe gave us. And he wouldn't tell us the topic until we walked into the room. So we were pretty scared, but it went really well. And we made lots of mistakes, but it was fun to just be able to practice and actually have like full conversations with each other.
Yeah, that's definitely the most fun assignment that you have in the basic classes. So do you have any advice for someone that's like beginning their Spanish journey that may be like scared or to start?
Yeah, my advice would probably be just don't be afraid to speak it, whether it's in class or outside of class. I'd say the more you use it in your life and not just for exams, the better it's going to stick. So it's okay if you mess up or pronounce something wrong. That's just kind of part of the process. And I mean, it's a new language, so it's supposed to be challenging. But knowing little is definitely better than not knowing any at all.
Excelente. Brooklyn nos mostró una perspectiva inteligente y motivadora, en la que enfatizó la importancia de la práctica, especialmente al hablar. Al principio le resultó difícil. Sin embargo, una vez que encontró el apoyo adecuado, se volvió divertido. Y ahora está empezando a enseñar a otros y integrándose a esta maravillosa comunidad. Brooklyn es un excelente ejemplo de una estudiante brillante que supera los desafíos de aprender un nuevo idioma. En resumen, aprender un nuevo idioma es muy difícil por muchas razones. Sin embargo, las oportunidades que ofrece son infinitas. Poco a poco ganarás confianza y finalmente te resultará natural. Lo más importante es recordar que no debes avergonzarte. Aprender cualquier tema lleva tiempo y no será perfecto al primer intento.
Esto concluye el episodio de hoy. Aprendimos que todos enfrentan a desafíos diferentes al aprender español, y eso es completamente normal. Ya sea la r, los sustantivos con género, las conjugaciones verbales, o entender a los hablantes nativos, todas ideas sobre hablar sin miedo, aceptar los errores y usar el español en la vida real, no solo para los exámenes.
Muchas gracias, Brooklyn.
De nada.
Hasta luego.
Ciao.